Hey everybody, it's the Sophic family. We just wanted to give an update and do a quick video also about some of the compelling reasons that made us decide to homeschool or unschool our daughter. One of which is the standard American diet, which we want to avoid for our daughter. Even though we live in Asia, fast food restaurants are the norm here now. Thankfully, still, Thai food is cheaper here, so if you want to get some beautiful, delicious greens, some excellent, succulent, exotic fruit, and delicious curries, it's cheaper than going to a fast food, American-type restaurant. However, that hasn't stopped it from becoming incredibly popular here, and the obesity rates soaring, especially amongst children. In fact, just the other day, my husband was commenting on some of his students who are larger, borderline obese, or may actually be obese, having such poor attention skills. They couldn't sit down. They were obviously completely wired on sugar, and to the point where they couldn't retain any information that they were learning in his English class. Now, there are a few reasons that probably contribute to this. Probably like, maybe you shouldn't force your kids to take a class if they genuinely don't want to. However, some of his kids want to be there. They're not forced to be there. They want to learn English because one of their parents is a native English speaker. Some of them are not in the picture, so they're not really teaching their kids English. It's kind of a confusing situation. But they still want to learn it. However, they just cannot sit down and retain the information. And the students who are more slender and obviously are eating more of the traditional Thai diet are able to retain the information. And this is common throughout the world, where kids ADHD is soaring amongst children who are obese or suffering from health problems that are related to obesity or diet. And this has to do with the standard American diet being pushed on countries all throughout the world, and especially on children at a young age so that they get hooked. It's really shocking when, for example, I was in Korea seeing kids who have the Korean diet. Traditional Korean diet is very healthy. It's loaded in vegetables. In fact, they have something called banchan and namul. Namul are just vegetables and marinated and frequently fermented. And they'll sometimes have like 5 or 6 or more banchan and namul dishes per meal. I mean, that's huge. That's nothing. I've never seen anything like that in anywhere else except maybe Japan, where you see that many vegetables per meal. So, but I know fast food restaurants are so popular in Korea that in our neighborhood we used to live in a smaller town, 6 out of 10 of the restaurants were fried chicken. In Korea, in a small town in Korea. And it's because it's become so popular because, they're doing a lot of things that America does because of America having helped them out and whatnot, and deals that they've signed with American beef companies. So they're importing a lot now from America and getting ideas inspired by America because it's cheap and there's lots of profit. However, the kids are paying for it. And it's very sad because I've met children who are Korean, who hate rice, who hate banchan, who hate vegetables, who do not eat kimchi, and only eat bread and fried chicken and fast food. They will not touch the traditional Korean diet, and the parents don't know what to do. It's just strange because the parents love it, and making kimchi is such a huge deal in Korea. Every mom has their own recipe for it and her own way of doing it, and there are different kinds of kimchi. Kimchi, by the way, is a type of fermented vegetable. It's frequently cabbage, and it's spicy. It's wonderful. Tons of fiber and vitamin C, and it's great for stomach health. Anyway, now, if you've got your kids in school, it's so hard to control what they eat, because I think we have an obligation that our children live long lives and healthy lives, as much as we can do to make sure that that happens. When you send your kid to school, unless there's a specific type of amazing nutritional program they've got going there, they don't learn how to cook. They don't learn they don't learn correct, accurate information about nutrition. They basically copy their peers, and most kids nowadays and most families nowadays don't really know much about nutrition, and many don't know how to cook. And obviously the kids pay because they can't sit still during class. They have poor self-esteem. A lot of them become depressed. Depression is very common in severely overweight and obese children. So the health ramifications are horrific. And again, that's one of the big reasons we decided to homeschool, because we teach Kaya how to cook. Even though she's only 4, She cooks with us. She helps me. She doesn't use anything sharp, and she obviously is away from the flame, but she absolutely cooks with me. She loves garlic. She absolutely adores garlic. She eats salad. She steals my salad if I make a salad for myself. She'll actually steal it away from me. She eats unusual vegetables because I don't eat fast food. My husband doesn't eat fast food. And even though we're on a strict budget, it's cheaper for us here to buy local vegetables and Thai food. It's much more expensive here to buy fast food. Now in other countries where it's cheaper to buy American food and American style junk food, there are still alternatives to it. You can go to farmers markets to get things cheaper than at the supermarket. You can still have a budget and eat healthy. You just have to plan it, and it takes a little bit more effort. But as Jamie Oliver puts it in his TED Talks video, it's recession proof because there are ways to do it. So a lot of parents think it's not possible for them because a lot of us are struggling financially, But I'm here to say that's not true. It just takes more research. And so yes, it's a pain in the butt learning exactly what you can afford and can't afford and whatnot. And it's very hard to control what a child eats at school. And so, parents who are sending their kids to school, are your kids eating pizza for breakfast? Because they do in many of the public schools in the U.S. Are there fast food chains in the schools, that your kids go to? Because guess what? They're probably going to be eating it. I mean, they're probably eating it several times a day, and because it doesn't fill them up, because there's no nutrition in it, everything's going to suffer because of it. I mean, it affects every aspect of their lives, their self-esteem, their mental well-being, their physical well-being, if they get diabetes or not, it affects everything. And I'm just really sick and tired of having friends get ill, or seeing obese children who are basically morbidly obese and probably have diabetes or will have it. And it is the fault of the parent. It absolutely is, because here in Thailand at least, the parents can afford the Thai traditional food, but instead of choosing to eat the fast food because it's marketed to them like it's, hey, this is what America does, so you should do it, and it's great and it's healthy, and despite the fact we're all obese and suffering the health consequences, and the infant mortality rate sucks, you should do it too. But they don't say that, of course. They just say, this is okay, this is what we do, you should do it too. And parents believe it, and they think it's cool, and then they eat it, and they buy it for their kids. And again, the same thing we saw in Korea, and it is in Japan as well, because I remember it. But it's not as big in Japan as it is in Korea, and it's very sad. In the Philippines as well, it's growing, it's spreading across the entire world. So that's a huge reason why I homeschool, we unschool, which is a type of homeschooling, because we can teach her these lifestyle skills of how to cook, proper nutrition, talking about the ingredients with her, talking about, does this taste good, asking her opinion, getting her to experiment with foods, and it's been a real lifesaver for us. So I hope that you'll consider doing it yourself, or finding a school that offers a great nutritional program for your kids where they don't grow up eating these terrible foods that affect them for the rest of their lives. Bye.